that somewhere in the darkest night a candle
The United States is not a normal country. We're a homeland.
America does not stand still, and neither will I. So wherever and whenever I can take steps without legislation to expand opportunity for more American families, that's what I'm going to do.
We're a homeland now, under military surveillance and military control. This thing is surrealistic now, and it is getting nastier and nastier as we are more and more kept in the dark about those things which most affect us. The government is not responsive to the people, either in protecting us from something like 9/11, which they should have done, could have done, did not do. That's a reign of terror. That's a reign of terror. That's a reign of terror.
Wherever and whenever I can take steps without legislation, that's what I'm going to do.
Don't forget, on this earth, Satan gives the kingdoms to whom he chooses. I know that God is ultimately in control, but don't forget, Satan even told Jesus, these kingdoms are mine to give to you. All you have to do is bow down and worship me. Satan told that to Jesus, who was God in the flesh. The kingdoms of the world and who is running them, I'll show you who's running them. The dragon. But God's allowed it for his ultimate purpose. Okay, here's the part I said I would show you. Here's this alien right here. Here's the top of his head. Here's his neck going to his shoulder. He has wings also that come down. But the alien, here's his eye, here's his mouth. The alien is speaking into the ear of Akhenaten. Okay, so the helmet or the crown of the Pharaoh is actually an alien head telling him what to do. So the point is, this king has the mind of the alien. Well, if anybody remembers ancient Egypt, you know that they had headdresses that had a serpent coming out of their forehead and a vulture. Well, it's obvious what those represent. The vulture represents death because the devil has the power of death over us, and then the serpent represents the mind of the serpent, which is the devil. And here's their man right here. So this is their king. So now I'm going to take this layer over off. I just want to show you. Here's the head of the alien, eye, the mouth open, speaking into the ear of his servant.
My lord, Gandalf the Grey is coming. He's a herald of woe. He's not welcome.
Why should I welcome you, Gandalf Stormcrow?
A just question, my liege. Ill news is an ill guest.
Be silent! Keep your forked tongue behind your teeth.
Here's his neck coming down. He has wings coming down here, and you can see his body's in the negative space here. But he's speaking into the ear of the king who they put in place because he's one of theirs. Now I'm going to switch this because that was the goal, to breed with us. So now I'm going to switch this back to the other one, and I want you to see very quickly. I want you to notice I colored in just the eye of the dragon right here.
Think of the truth behind those eyes. There may be hundreds of skulls at Akator. Whoever finds them will control the greatest natural force the world has ever known. Power over the mind of man. Imagine to peer across the world and know the enemy's secrets. To place our thoughts into the minds of your leaders. Make your teachers teach the true version of history. Your soldiers attack on our command. We will be everywhere at once, more powerful in a whisper, invading your dreams, picking your thoughts for you while you sleep. We will change you, Dr. Jones. All of you, from the inside. We will turn you into us. And the best part, you won't even know it's happening.
Here is an alien The alien is inside the body of the Pharaoh.
And you, who were once alienated and hostile in mind, doing evil deeds, he has now reconciled in his body of flesh by his death, in order to present you holy and blameless and above reproach before him.
Jesus is building a spiritual temple, and we are that spiritual temple, everyone who's been saved. The Bible says that you are living stones being built up into a spiritual temple for God to occupy. That's the Bible.
Tearing down of the Twin Towers on 9/11/2001 and the rebuilding of this One World Freedom Tower is of paramount importance. This is a spiritual event that is bleeding over into the physical realm as a beacon, as a signal, as a mockery of God, a signal to all that follow Satan that they have succeeded, to mock what Jesus said when he said, tear down this temple and I will rebuild it in 3 days. He was talking about his body. We know that the destruction of the Twin Towers was a spiritual event, was a satanic attack, because he was broadcasting his plans well before it was carried out in 2001. In 1985, in the movie Back to the Future, we see this sign that says Twin Pines Mall, and when you turn it upside down, we see the time to be 9/11. Later in the film, he comes back to it, and it is the Lone Pine Mall. The Simpsons showed the currency being tied to 9/11. This was in 1997.
Are we gonna die, son?
Yeah, but at least we'll take a lot of innocent people with us.
There was a movie called The Long Kiss Goodnight with Samuel L. Jackson, and it spells out the conspiracy pretty much word for word, that there would be an attack, they would blame it on Muslims, they would actually kill people, and that it would give them an excuse for more military funding. This is precisely what happened. Take a look.
World Trade Center bombing, remember? During the trial, one of the bombers claimed the CIA had advanced knowledge. The diplomat who issued the terrorist visa was CIA. It's not unthinkable they paved the way for the bombing purely to justify a budget increase.
You're telling me that you're gonna fake some terrorist thing just to get some money out of Congress?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Hennessy, I have no idea how to fake killing 4,000 people. So we're just gonna have to do it for real. Oh, blame it on the Muslims, naturally. Then I get my funding.
The examples go on and on. You can do your own research on this. But the point is, it was a spiritual event. Satan told us what he was going to do, and then he did it to look all-powerful to his followers. That's how he mocks God another way. So the obvious question, when you see these 9/11 hints in all these films and other forms of media, the amount of conspirators, it boggles the mind. Like, were these people aware that the clock read 9/11 and that it was Twin Pines and then Lone Pine and Terminator and The Simpsons and Kiss the Girls? Did they know what they were writing and what they were portraying, or was there some spirit that was operating within them? And why were they vulnerable to this spirit? That is why we must go to the parable of the wheat and tares. That's why Jesus said this is the mystery that was hidden since the beginning of the age.
Now watches the punk in the beginning, points up at the camera, then tells the officers, go ahead, ready, start. And then they look around, they say, you ready? Alright, begin. Now, you didn't see that beginning. They cut it out.
But they were sending out the feed on the satellite and folks recorded it. People at other networks and systems, and later it was released. Just type in CNN faking Gulf War I, and it's them making jokes and laughing and going, oh, I'm scared. And, you know, they've got a set out there with a fake palm tree. Up on the roof of CNN Center in Atlanta. It's all a joke, but only because you like being chumps, ladies and gentlemen. And they've put out more fake videos, more fake newscasts. And by the way, they almost have no viewers now, even with fake Nielsen ratings. They're a joke.
We cannot be specific about the direction. All right, we are now led to understand that there are also firings in another city in Saudi Arabia. CNN's Carl Rochelle is here with me, just came up. Carl, I know we can't be very specific given these restrictions, but within those parameters, what did you see?
Well, what I saw, I didn't see anything hit. I looked almost straight above us. There was a vapor trail coming from my right. It might have been an explosion, a cloud. I'd say...
Yet I planted you a choice vine, wholly of pure seed. How then have you turned degenerate and become a wild vine? Though you wash yourself with lye and use much soap, the stain of your guilt is still before me, declares the Lord God.
You're born into like a hive situation. That's it. The whole thing is a big hive.
Chewbacca.
You see what's going on here? It's an alien head. It's a hive. Get it? And they know it.
In a major Nike advertising campaign for Kobe Bryant. And there's no second guessing who's running the show with this particular ad campaign. They even show that the top of the pyramid is success. That's the all-seeing eye. So he was almost showing himself by sketching it out on a receipt, whatever spirit this was specifically, and then making it manifest in a multi-million-dollar ad campaign. So we have a dingy receipt in a store with a shark coming out of this beast, and then we have it in a Nike. So the only explanation for that, either it's the most severe case of coincidence that I've ever seen, or it is actual court admissible proof that there is spiritual happenings going on.
For the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day when all Americans from every walk of life unite in our resolve for justice and peace.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea.
For he shatters the doors of bronze, and cuts in two the bars of iron. Some were fools through their sinful ways, and because of their iniquities suffered affliction. They loathed any kind of food, and they drew near to the gates of death. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He sent out his word and healed them, and delivered them from their destruction. Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love, for his wondrous works to the children of men. And let them offer sacrifices of thanksgiving, and tell of his deeds in songs of joy.
everywhere at once, more powerful than a whisper.
I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys.
And they talk about opening your inner eye and all that stuff. It's just letting Satan in the door and saying, I'm ready. Run me in fully and completely, yeah. And they think it's like being one with your Creator. What it is, it's being one with Satan. It is. And then when you get saved, if you get saved by Jesus Christ, you become an enemy of the world. The enemy, the world ends up freaking hating your guts. I was like, dude, what's going on? After I got saved, man, I was like, what is going on? All my friends just abandoned me. I wasn't preaching to them, but they knew, you know, the hive knew. They reject you.
The obscure hand I move in, fingertips straight to new string. Lurking about unknown the ghosts, you won't move limbs. That a dude's win when I boost the trim. That's the switch, you're my slave, yeah, you can ask me. The truth about foreign beggars, are we truly the Illuminati? No, it's something like the Truman Show, bro, we're moving nasty. Enter my zone, let the fungus strike. You've been inducted to the hive, we're choosing for you.
There's a whole world that's hidden right in front of your face, and it's upside down.
Who stood up for peace and sat down for war. They ran from the ways, the old school ways, fight those different, killed to be saved. Well, these theories came straight from their minds, their hearts left trembling deep down inside. Well, I know, now know, well I know what lies beneath. 'Cause now we see these views may change if we all walk this way. The youth steer the ship as this generation fades. These views may change if we all walk this way. The youth steer the ship as this generation fades. Let's move to the middle, embrace one and all. See the beauty through the skin of the Aboriginal. If your friend has fear, then help him to heal. Show him the difference, gives this world its appeal. Well, we are so lucky today. This earth as our playground, it's culture to amaze. Well, I know, now know, I know, and I know what lies beneath. 'Cause now we see these views may change if we all walk this way. The youth steer the ship as this generation fades. These views may change if we all walk this way. The youth steer the ship as this generation fades. These views may change if we all walk this way. The youth steer the ship as this generation fades. These views may change if we all walk this way. The youth steer the ship as this generation fades and fades. Oh, it fades.
I was like you, Margit. I thought Jesus came, died on the cross, that Jesus' being here was about his death and dying on the cross, when it really was about him coming to show us how to do it, how to be, to show us the Christ consciousness that he had, and that consciousness abides with all of us.
Yes.
That's what I got.
Yes.
That's what I got.
Yes.
Thank you. And that what you're saying is that God, in the essence of all consciousness isn't something to believe. God is.
Yes.
God is. And God is a feeling experience. One of the mistakes that human beings make is believing that there is only one way to live.
That's right.
That we don't accept that there are diverse ways of being in the world, that there are millions of ways to be a
Then
human
how do you
being.
please God?
And many ways, many paths to what you call God.
That
and
is
her path
pleasing.
might be something else, and when she gets there, she might call it the light. But her loving and her kindness and her generosity brings her, if it brings her to the same point that it brings you, it doesn't matter whether she called it God along the way or not.
And I guess the danger that could be in that, I mean, it sounds great on the onset, but if you really look at both sides,
There couldn't possibly be just one way. What about Jesus? What about Jesus?
You say there isn't only one way. There is one way and only one way, and that is through Jesus.
There couldn't possibly be with the
because you
millions of people
say
in the
there
world.
isn't.
There couldn't possibly be. That what I believe is that Jesus came to show us Christ consciousness.
To show us Christ consciousness.
Any final message?
Simply to the Iowa voters, I want to say thank you. I so enjoyed my time with you, and in turn, I hope you enjoy a future that will be littered with death panels, re-education camps, and forced immunizations, all ending in an Iranian nuclear bomb that will bring about the rapture, saving me and leaving you all to ask yourselves, what if?
Michelle Bachman, everybody!